Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Peace Luv Biz. I'm your host Steve Higgins and I'm here with Mary and we got through tax deadline day.
We
Um
did.
somehow. You guys might see my name at the bottom, but we realized that I am an emotional support animal for Mary.
Yeah,
Um
definitely.
in my first tax season with
Definitely.
Mary, it was an experience. Um how are you feeling, Mary? Now we're on April 17th.
I feel mentally lighter. Mentally lighter. I mean, I did have dreams about taxes last night in QuickBooks, but I mean, at least I have a little bit more time because we had a lot of people coming to us at the last minute to get extensions in. So,
Yeah. Well, and I my favorite one that you got was I saw on the news that it's tax deadline day. It's like, dude, you live in Florida, you have an extension given to you by the IRS. Calm down.
which we said.
Which we sent
And
the email out.
they
Yeah.
knew that, and then they saw it, and then they called,
Yeah.
and that's when I just was like, I can't. I will say I've just done this for so long, and maybe it's just getting older that I'm just like, I just don't like micromanagement. I hate that. It's not a sign of leadership. It's a sign of it's a sign of having fear of losing control.
And also a
And
lack of trust.
lack of trust and every single person we onboard with our team, we start with, I do not micromanage. If I have to micromanage you, you do not belong on this team, because it is. And I think Gary Vanderchuck, which who I adore, he posted that. He posted, I believe so, on LinkedIn. He posted, micromanagement isn't sign of leadership. It's a sign that you're of fear of losing control and not having trust in your team. And I trust my team. If I can't trust my team, then we're not a good fit. And that works the same way with our clients. Like, after 10 years of me doing your taxes, tell me the last time I didn't file an extension for you. Okay, never. Okay, so then that's a you problem, because I've done my part of showing you that I show up and I deliver. So I don't like the micromanagement from our clients. Like, stop. Go find somebody else. I can't, like, that may not be a popular opinion to say on a podcast to a whole bunch of clients. I don't really care. It's like, I've been doing the job for years and years and years. You trusted me fully, so just keep trusting in me. Like, I do it. I take care of it.
I get, and I agree with you in the people that have been with you forever. And since you were dealing with stuff in black and white and physical ledgers and all of that.
Uh-huh.
But for
And we
new
joke, but I
clients,
literally learned accounting on paper
yeah.
before
Oh, I know,
computers.
I know. And you got freaked out by QuickBooks Desktop because it's been so long that you were in there. Um,
Yeah.
that was kind of fun. I was just gonna say that I understand new clients and it's hard to let somebody else take the steering wheel and drive.
Yeah.
But when you hire a fractional CFO, that's what you're doing with the financial arm of your business. So you've just got to let go, do what you're good at. We've always said that.
Yeah, like the new clients, I totally get. It's like, I mean, you do have to say it like 10 times, but I do get, like, you're automatically in an instant relationship with, because you have to be. You have to be able to trust me. I have all your banking information. Now, we do set it up with securities in mind. Like, I have guest access, and, I make sure I have limited controls to everything, because that's part of your internal control procedures for your business. But if I've been doing your taxes and you've known me for 30 years, just trust I've got it. I've always got it. Trust I've got it. And this is burying two kids. I've got it, and I buried two kids in the last 10 years, and I haven't dropped the ball.
Yeah.
So, not for nothing. That's not a using my dead kid card. That's literally being fact of the matter. I have gone through emotional complete hell on earth and I'm still delivering. So, you know,
Delivering, exceeding expectations,
yeah, have
all
a
of the
little
above.
grace.
Yeah.
It would represent you well.
So how we looking, Mary?
That's as bad as the word spreadsheets to me.
Um, we have a lot of people asking how we're looking for taxes, and I guess the ironic thing is that people thinking that a refund is a refund. It's not a refund, it's just money that you've overpaid to the government that you're getting
Yeah.
back. So, like,
Yeah,
um,
and the how they're looking is used by a lot of people. And I think that's their softer way of saying, what are my taxes done?
yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, and that's their softer way of saying it. But, it's a process. And yeah, ideally, you want everybody done by April 15th. But in the real world, listen, it ain't gonna happen.
There's a
It's
reason
not
they
gonna
give
happen.
extensions.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, you know, it happens, and it's all good. I mean, we'll have I'll have everything done. I don't like having things on longer than I need to. I mean, it prevents me from making more money and doing better for our clients. So
yeah.
that's going away. But
Well, while we are on the back end of tax season, if people need to reach out and they still need help, if you haven't filed in a few years, don't worry, you don't need an extension because you're already late. Um, so,
uh-huh.
um, if you want to reach out to us and you want that professional help, that personal touch, go to peacelovebizz.com or call 844 Peace 20 and we'll be happy to help. Um, Semi-ironically, this week's topic is about how do you build a business without burning out? Um,
Uh-huh.
and I know Mary's been through a lot in the last month. It's been stressful. Um, it's not been easy, but we got through
Uh-uh.
it. And just talking through some of the coping mechanisms on running a business in general, staying on task, and making sure you don't burn out, taking your rest, all of that type of stuff. So, um, realistically, we talked about owning a business versus owning a hobby. Understanding the traditional hustle narrative in entrepreneurship is
Uh-huh.
you have to you have to put the work in. There's no substitute for hard work. Um, but what was the point that you kind of realized that you're no longer just working in your business, you're actually starting to work on the business and developing that a little bit. Because it's been a bit of a pretty sharp upward trajectory for us. Not to say that I have a massive hand in it, but um,
Well, I mean, okay, so I've been self-employed for about 15 years at least. Um, so for I was good when it was just me and not having a team. I didn't need 50 monthly recurrence. I didn't need 300 tax returns a year. Um, when I started to have a team and I started to see like a way bigger picture, which had a lot to do with me personally, like I was able to recover personally from the loss of my children and starting a new life and turning 50, everything just kind of changed. I was like, okay, well, here's a new life and this is what we're going to do. So it was not it's never been a hobby at any point for me, but the growth definitely changed last August when I did turn 50. And you and I talked and we were like, let's do this. And then we quickly realized the capacity in which we could do it. Um, we're definitely people that will always try something once, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We're not people that, and I think it's because of both of our backgrounds. We've given all we have to give. I don't give all I have to give anymore to something that I know is failing. Like I will try it. You show me if it works. If it's not working, it's gone. I will not just keep banging my head into a wall. And we've really shown that growth in the last 6 months,
Well,
6, 9
yeah,
months. But like, no, I knew the moment that we partnered last September that everything was going to change.
yeah, that's fair. But you did have a team before me, before I came along. When did you kind of realize that you can't do it on your own anymore? Like, was there a specific point in time where it's like, I need a Joy, I need a Carla? Like, was it the workload?
Well,
Or,
yeah, it was I was burning out because when Carla has been, I've known Carla for 6 years. So Carla first started just to support me with cleanup and I had people getting referred, getting referrals. I needed the extra help and she was there. She got it. So she did it. Um, then I got more and more and more referrals. And then I realized that, yeah, I do want to do something different. I did have a team before you, trial and error. Some things fit. There's also some things fit for what you're doing at that moment. And then when you grow, and you're putting those things in place, you're either still on the train and willing to grow with the company, and that's okay. And it's okay if you don't want to. It's okay if you can't fit into that next level. That is okay. Um, but you gotta own that too. And part of them or anybody owning it is the leadership owning it. And I could see it, so I called it. I mean, we just went and did other stuff on our own, but you got to have everything fitting. And I think as long as you're transparent about that, your team will respect it. Whether or not they want to go along for it and keep next level up, that's their decision. But you're at least honest and transparent about, hey, listen, we're not looking at staying at 300,000 in annual revenue. We're looking at hitting, just under 1 million and 1.5 million. And you've got to be transparent about where you're going.
absolutely. And you hit on the point that I was going to make, in that it is an evolution, and things that you do are going to be fit for purpose at that time, but they're not always going to be fit for purpose. And that
Absolutely.
you can talk about employees and staff and the team, but you can also look at operations and processes, software, equipment. If somebody's a landscaper, they've got 3 crews. They're gonna they're not gonna be using push mowers anymore, are they? They're gonna be using
Right.
ride-ons. Like,
Right.
it's that evolution and recognizing that. Um,
But I think
but
also what we've done is we're able to because we're realistic about what we're doing. So we went, okay, we're a really small company. We have the potential to be at whatever we've said. This is all these projects we can do. We've outlined them. We know what we need to do. We've put realistic expectations in place. And then we've used other things to get to the point that we want to with the projects. So little band-aids to help us along the way. Because no, we can't if we're developing some type of software, you don't have 75, $80,000 to dump in. We don't have $80,000 to dump into it, but if anybody wants to give us a grant of $80,000, that is welcome. But we don't right now, so we find other band-aids for it. But we know that we're not staying with this one software forever. It's a short-term solution because we have a long-term goal. And I think that any business needs to really look at that. What is your end goal? What is it that you want out of all of this at the end of the day? And that's what we did. And then you build out from there.
yeah, and it's been a ride in this. We're almost on 9 months now. That's
Yeah.
scary. Um, it's been a ride, and I haven't got everything right. I know that, but you've got to learn from those teething issues, I guess you could call them, um, and make the most out of it. Realistically, entrepreneurialism is really about finding the success out of all the mistakes that you make.
Well, I
And
mean, you're
yeah,
gonna nobody's I don't I want to I wouldn't go with the word mistakes, but I will go with nobody is infallible.
Yeah.
So, um, for what we've done in 9 months, I know previous companies that they're still doing the same exact. If what is the expression? Do the same thing, get the same results. There
Yeah.
is no change without change. I know companies, one is screaming at my head, which I know you know, but I can list
Hmm.
about 5 companies that I've either worked with, for, involved in, and literally they kept doing the same thing and they expected different results. Well, they haven't changed in years. Their revenue hasn't changed. Their teams changed because they keep having to have turnover because they're not changing their environment. They're not changing that your work environment is just so important. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
everybody has a moment, everybody has stress, but dude, if you're not just if it's not a safe space to be free to go, hey, listen, I don't agree with this, or hey, did you try this, or hey, have you thought about this? It doesn't work. It does. You will not change. Your company will not grow. You will stagnate. You will always be looking for the next, get quick rich scheme. You're always going to be in that space. It won't
And
change.
which brings me on to the next kind of thing I wanted to cover, and that's about the authenticity.
Hmm.
And this was going to be more focused on like the outward facing, from a marketing perspective, like being authentic to your brand and to everything like that. But there's also, it's about the culture as well. If you
Yeah.
can't be authentic, genuine, truly interactive with the people and embodying that collaborative culture, it's going to be a lonely process and you're going to get into your own head. It really is. Um, so whether
Yeah.
that's
If your
getting, yeah,
culture, if your culture is not, I mean, that's like us. We have Peace Love Biz, and we have our moments, and we're dark humored. But that's like we have Peace Love Biz, but don't you dare show up at a team meeting and express your thought. Like what? That doesn't even make sense.
no,
But like,
I thought you were
yeah.
going a different route with that. I thought you were going to say don't show up lying on a couch or under a blanket in sweats
Oh,
or,
that's a whole different thing. But
yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, but that like, I mean, if you're we preach work life balance, which we really need to get better at practicing, which I'm better this week now that I got past the 15th. But it's like I mean, the culture's so important, and how you treat yourself and your expectations and being kinder to yourself.
It's been a shock to me. It really has, because I'm used to working way too much, way too hard. And not that I'm
Hmm.
not still working hard, but you're telling me to take off. You're telling me to go take lunch, go have lunch with people.
Hmm.
I'm not used to it. It does take some getting used to. Um, like once
And
we're done
for
here, I'm
people that
gonna.
haven't, if people that haven't listened to previous episodes, if this is your first episode, Steven and I briefly been best friends for 8 years. We started off as those coworkers that were trauma bounded. We were stuck in this horrific, under a horrific management. I won't call the person a leader, but really not. I mean, they would, but I wouldn't ever. Um, and we maintained the friendship afterwards and through it, and that's how we got through it. So Stephen literally, like, I do go take lunch, go take the day off, go whatever.
Yeah,
Like, not as
there
his
was.
boss because we're partners, but I literally have to say to him, "Go take lunch," because I know he needs the break.
Yeah. Um, I'm definitely used to the stick and not the carrot. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the problem that I have. But um, I mean, just going back to the authenticity, we do care about all of our people, whether it's clients, the team, the people we interact with, the referral partners, whoever it is. We care
Mhm.
probably to our detriment, and one day we're going to talk about access and all of that stuff. But
Yeah, one day we'll practice what we preach completely. I'm
yeah,
working on it.
one day we need to take our own advice with some of that stuff.
Hmm.
Um, But yeah, you've got to be true to yourself and true to who you are as a person and an organization. Um, so, um, next thing that can help with rest and, stress reduction, let's say,
Uh-huh.
is knowing your money and knowing some mindful financial practices, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Um, because you had to teach me about not stressing about money
Yeah.
because I know how hard I work, the money will come,
Uh-huh.
which is what's happened. I'm not saying we're Scrooge McDucking it, but like I'm learning to let go a little bit, and knowing my numbers is a big part of it, which is easy. Um, but how would you kind of balance your money goals with mindful intentions and
I
that
think that
type?
starts
Yeah.
with you gotta know your worth. Like inherently, you need to know inside yourself, you need to know your value. And as much garbage as I've been through and as much insane clients as I've been through, I always at the end of the day know my worth. Not saying I'm better than anybody else, I'm just really great at what I do. And so I've worried about money twice in my whole life. Do not typically worry about money. I think it starts there. It starts knowing that you are that good at what you do. Um, and so then you are I mean, I am mindful of how much we pay for things and what we're spending on and reoccurring expenses and the income that we're deriving. I'm very conscious of all that. I don't just spend money. Um, I personally, we don't eat out. Well, given where I live, there's not really options, but we also eat really healthy. Um, we eat really healthy. We prefer to have things cooked at home. I'm really like, and it's really easy for me to say because I've been fat, I don't know, 4 times and thin three. So maybe we'll balance it
Well,
out this next year. But I will say that um, eating out is probably the biggest detriment to people, not just as an expense because you're thinking, oh, I can write it off. Yes, you can write it off. As long as it's a business meal, you're meeting with clients, you're discussing business, absolutely, it's a business write off. Eating out 3 7 every single day or Uber eating it every single day, and you cannot imagine how many people do this every single day, multiple times a day, or just do drive through every single day or multiple times a day, every day of the week. There are tens of thousands of dollars spent on fast food. It's it always blows me away. I
but then
think
they
and
can't afford.
this is a very dangerous thing for me to say. I would bet $1,000 I spend less on wine than they do on eat out on taking out, and that says a lot.
That's dangerous. But I think you're right. Um, the funny thing is that when people, you know, do all of that door dashing, Uber Eats in, the first thing they turn around and say when they meet with us is that they can't afford an accountant.
Right, because they don't have their priorities straight, but they
Right.
don't have their spending priorities straight, definitely. But, and I forgot my point for a second, but that is definitely a point. But the other part is that you're eating all this garbage. Now, I'm overweight for a reason. It's not
Yeah.
because I eat garbage. It's because I drink wine. I'll be very forthcoming with that. I don't lie. I make a practice of not doing it. It's not because I'm putting garbage in my body. You're literally putting toxins and garbage and hormones and chemicals in your body, and you're altering your entire physical and mental and neurological state. So you're not on your best point every day because you're putting garbage in your body. So how
Yeah.
can you have any peacefulness? Because then You're doing it quick because it's order quick. And I get how the culture is. It's instant gratification. The problem is that that's not how business works. Business long term means you are planting your feet down and you're doing what you got to do to make this happen. And if you've got to change up the scenario, you got to change up your client. We just change up the client base that we need. We're filled with one. We need this next thing. We don't need any more of accountants. We need a marketing person. You've got to constantly be looking at changing the lens of your scope. So you can't do that if your body and your brain and your mind is filled with all this crap inside you. And that's just one thing.
Well, that's it. I say I'm fat. I've got friends back home in England that say they know five fat friends, and I am three of them. Um, which is mean, but it's funny, so I take it. Um, to that point though, I know what my problem is, and my problem is portion control. I don't eat badly. I just eat too much of it. Maybe the soda, that's a problem, but you
Well,
know,
it's also
that's
stress. I mean, that's we think I've been a smoker. I my first cigarette when I was like 16 years old. I won't say the person's name, but I know he listens. But was in the back of his car. We were going to school, and I had my first smoke, and I'll never forget it. And here I am, 34 years later, and haven't smoked out of the 34. There was about 15 or 20 of them I did not smoke. It's a horrible habit. It's a horrible habit. It does not actually reduce stress. And so I'm slowly stopping. I have exactly 8 days to be done with it. But I did realize I lay on the couch or lay on the lounge or the chase and do not smoke. And I'm like, oh, this is relaxing. So it's learning what you're doing is not working. What you're doing is literally doing the opposite. Smoking, drinking is literally putting more stress on my body. It's adding stress on my body.
I
So
can't
it's
remember
just
where I was
learning
going with
that.
that. I can't remember where I was going with that. Maybe I'll come back to that because I had a good point, but I forgot it.
Oh, sorry.
It's not your fault. I think I sidetracked myself with my fat friends and me being three of them. Um,
Oh, but I mean, we think that, I mean, I used to be an overeater. That was like the first time I was fat. It was definitely overeater, not the drinking. But we think that that somehow is compensating. It's like a short-term hug.
so
Too much food, smoking, drinking, it's like your short-term little hug.
okay, and I've remembered my point now because it's exactly that. When you go to the gym, you have one session, you immediately think, "Oh, I'm swole, I'm fit, I'm good." Nobody in the world will think that. And if you do, then
No.
you really need to look at yourself. But that's the point. Essentially, what we're talking about is going to the gym for your business. And it's a switch, and it's definitely an ongoing process, and you're never going to get that instant gratification. Um, you'll see the
Yeah.
results over time, and you're gonna get your routine wrong.
Well, because we have a McDonald's mentality in the United States. The culture in the United States is a McDonald mentality. And I don't know what it was at the moment, but I was looking at something the other day. It had a list of ingredients for McDonald's French fries in the UK versus the list of ingredients in the United States. And one of the it is like three ingredients in the UK, three or four tops. It was like potatoes, salt, and oil. What you should need for French fries. In the United States, it's like 10 of them. One of the agents that they use in the United States is they have this added agent that they put in the oil so they don't need to clean the oil as often so they can just keep reusing it.
That's imp
So that they don't need to clean the oil, they don't need to clean the oil, and that way they can produce more french fries quicker because we need everything instantly. And we see this with our clients when they come on and they're like, okay, I gave you everything. Why isn't it done? You literally signed your contract yesterday. You're
yeah.
one of 50, and we're very clear about that. You have us as your fractional CFO, you have us as your tax person. It's an all in one thing. you are one of 50. So if you want to pay us for full time, we're not interested in that because we don't want any one full time client. You've also got to understand what you're getting. So you can't go like the woman that we get that makes our lunch. That's a whole, it's a process because she's cutting up peppers and she's cutting up, octopus and she's cutting up fish and she's doing whatever and making everything from scratch. So, yeah, it's not going to be a McDonald's drive-through. We're not a McDonald's drive-through. If you want a McDonald's drive-through, that's why H&R Block exists and that's why these bookkeepers at $25 an hour exists. Because they'll just classify anything anyway. They'll use AI and I will beat AI for accounting any day of the week that, and because mine will be right. They if you want something from scratch, you're going to get quality. If you want something you don't care, you can just throw numbers in, well then by all means pay the garbage.
I guess now's a good point for me to say if somebody wants that Ruth Chris experience, then
Yeah.
go to Peace Luv Biz and we can help you out. Um, but let's do some fun stuff then. So let's talk about the actual rest that you get and what you do for that. Because I know what you do to reduce your stress. Um,
Well, when I'm
what,
in full on
what?
work mode and I need to de-stress, I just go to QuickBooks. That way I feel like I'm still working, but I'm actually learning how to do things other than work. So today I have family coming in because it's Holy Week. Um, so I'm actually taking the night off tonight, and then I'm taking from 2 o'clock tomorrow off until Monday morning.
So I that sounds kind of out of the ordinary. Um,
Totally, totally.
but I know for you, you have your calming drink, you've
Yeah,
got your QuickBooks,
yep.
you've got your music, um, you've got these different routines that will either keep you focused and on track with the work, or it will reduce your stress level so that you're back to an equilibrium.
Hmm.
Um, I think that building intentional routines and intentional time blocks, I'm just now learning about this.
Hmm.
And you told me about it for years, other people have told me about it for years, but scheduling focus time for me completely reduces my stress level
So yeah, you
because
were
then
you
I
were
don't
really,
get bombarded.
and a lot of people do not like change. I try to just run towards it if it's needed, and try to be open as possible because I wasn't like that for a long time. And again, life happens. So I learned like, hey, like all my need for control went out the window when all that happened. So I love focus time. I run for it. You were not, you were so, without saying it, you never said it, but the actions were showing, or the inactions were showing how you did not want to do it. And then you
It
started doing it and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I was
it
laughing.
it was more of a case of my salesperson mentality says to me that I always have to be available. So, and what that does is that reduces my value really because my availability and my value it's kind of a opposite scale and effect really. While I can be available to everybody, I also need to make myself available to me because I've got enough stuff that I've got to go and do that I
Hmm.
need that time dedicated. Otherwise, I am going to just keep going and still be at my computer at 1 a.m. just, you know, going through and doing stuff that I should have done during the day. Um,
And you can't, and I'm not saying this all the time, but you can't because you made yourself too available for something else.
yeah, exactly. Um, so I definitely think that's, while it's not rest, it encourages stress reduction for me. Um,
And focus time doesn't necessarily have to be definitely like you're doing something. Like sometimes I have focus time just so I can get my head back together so that I can do there are days I do 3 or 4 returns and there are days where I literally will do 15 tax returns.
yeah,
It just my headspace has to be right there.
yeah. See, for me, we know that when I'm done for the day, I'm straight into video games.
Yeah.
Like, and that I think I have a form of ADHD where I have to keep doing stuff with my hands. While I'm sat here talking to you, my hands haven't stopped. I've got a pen, I've got post-it notes. Like I have to be doing something. So when I'm done and I'm decompressing, it's video games for me. Um, and that's what I need to.
Yeah.
There's definitely a form of escapism. Rach, my wife, will read books. This is my form of escapism. It keeps my brain
Mhm.
going, but it also keeps me active. So,
I think the
um,
more we learn, I know we're close to time, but the more we learn about ourselves and get to know ourselves better, I have times where all I want is music and work. And then I'll be
yeah.
like, I need to read in the morning, or I need to read I'll read for 12 hours. I have plenty of days that I'll lay on a Sunday and I will just read all day. That's all I'm doing is reading.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes I'll study. Sometimes I'm looking at coursework. Sometimes, I mean, I'm always doing something, but it's kind of like whatever I need to get me out of whatever other thing that is stressing me out that's causing stress. So I have like a ton of things that I jump um, to kind of pull me back in.
Yeah. Um, while we're wrapping up, I think that sometimes you just need to talk to people. Like sometimes the social interaction can be a stress reducer and
Hmm.
provide that rest as well. Different voice, different day, and a different sounding board can help. Um, and
And
you know,
sometimes you don't need to talk to anybody.
sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes
Um,
literally, I put my phone on vibrate and I leave it as long as Cello's in the house, I leave it in the other room. I don't want to know anything to do with it.
I find it weird sometimes because I am used to being way too available, as I said. So I never have any notifications on my phone. They're just gone, cleaned out. And it's weird that when I come back to it and it's got 10 to 15 notifications because I have put it down and I've left it and I haven't felt bad about it anymore. Um,
Hmm.
but what I was going to say is that having a network of people that you can rely on, if you have a task, if you have something that you're trying to do that's not in your wheelhouse, and we've always preached focus on your expertise, but the collaboration in your network is huge because
Hmm.
you don't want to be thumbing through social media for 3, 4, 6 hours instead of doing what you're good at. So if you
No.
can talk to people and pass it off, then
Hmm.
that's a stress reducer right there for me. Um,
Absolutely.
who who did you find that was on an unexpected kind of resource and like a support person that you weren't expecting? Is there like somebody that comes to mind for that for you? I
I
know
mean,
that's a weird
not
one.
unexpected, but not totally unexpected, but unexpected because of the way we started.
Yeah,
Josie, who was on one of our podcasts, episode 2 or 3. She's been a client for a lot of years, and we have a really amazing relationship. We're very supportive of one another. We're able to talk to each other as small business owners, friends, women. That we're the same age, so that helps. We go through certain things as women as we get older, but like everything, she really turned into this amazing, unexpected gift for me. And I would say Dina. I mean, Dina's my cousin. She works for us, works with us. Um, and yeah, I've known her for all my life. I think I'm about 10 years older than her, 8 years older than her. But we didn't talk. I mean, we didn't, not anything bad. We just didn't talk for a long time. And then uh, my kids died. And
yeah.
after a couple of years, after my son, her and I connected. And yeah, we're like, she's an amazing support. Amazing. And that came out of tragedy. But, I mean, yeah, she's my cousin. But literally, we talk to each other not as much as Steven and I do. But, and I would say you, but you were totally expected support. So.
Well, I came
No,
from the outside to the inside, I guess.
yeah,
So for a while, I could have been unexpected. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I would have said you for me. Like, but obviously we've developed the relationship. Um, One that I didn't expect was my buddy Ray, he's a general contractor. He does, exterior paint jobs. He does bathroom, kitchen remodels. Um, but he's just a dude. Like he cares. He's got that genuine affection for me, which I love him to death. Um, but I didn't expect that kind of relationship.
Hmm.
And thankfully, that came out of my networking groups. Some of the people that you find in those groups are incredible. And again, our payroll guy, Mark, was a similar
Yeah,
kind of person for me.
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's important that rest comes in a lot of different forms while you're running a business, and
Hmm.
take it however you can, whether it's for yourself, whether it's scheduling time, whether it's talking to people, talking to yourself, which that's questionable. I'm, you know, the bipolarity is real sometimes. Um, but yeah, it's no, I kind of like this. So, you know, just keep doing what you're doing, believe in yourself, and always do that. Yeah, have confidence in yourself. I learned last. I've started going and playing basketball with a few guys in my neighborhood, which I need to do that to, round is not an acceptable shape anymore apparently for a person. Um, so I've been going and playing basketball. I didn't know that I could do some of the stuff I could on a basketball court because I didn't have the confidence. But when you have the confidence in what you do and what you want to be doing, it makes a massive difference. So if you, Mhm. Yeah. So if you guys need help with your culture, or if you want to just come and do a bit of soundboarding, um, reach out to us, schedule us time and run through like a 30-minute session or something. Go to peacelovbiz.com, 844 peace 20, or find us on socials. We're doing a lot of good posts lately, and the blog's really kicking off too with how to close a business, how to build credit card fees, all types of stuff. So yeah. Oh, last thing from me is that we are officially celebrating our 6-year anniversary, which is technically on the 19th. um, but yeah, so we're going to be sending some posts out about that. But if you want to just come wish us happy birthday, come and do that. That'd be great. Um, I guess until next time, have a peaceful week, everybody. Thanks, Mary. Bye.